Hi guys, welcome along now to part 2 of our web design tutorial. So what we're going to be doing in this part is we're going to actually be building navigation into our web page. So we're going to actually create a couple of different pages and we're going to have a navigation bar where we can go between them. So let's get started on it. So I still have OpenGenie, I have my index.html and I have my style.css. So we need to start adding new pages. So what we're going to do, you'll see there's a little plus here up in the top left corner, but there's a little arrow just beside it, which says, when you hover over it, says create a new file from template. So we're going to left click on that and we're going to scroll down and you're going to see file underscore html5.html. That's the file type we want. So we're going to left click on it. So the file opens up. It looks a little different to what we've had already. So what we can actually do is we can actually highlight and delete all the red text. And then what we're going to do, our head section here looks a little different from our original document. So we can actually just save time. We can go back to our index.html and we're going to copy the head section from here. So I'm going to right click and copy, go to our new document, right click or hover over the head section and paste. Now, we want to give this a different title because it's a new page. We're going to give this title Glendalough. Okie dokie. It's linking to the same style sheet because we wanted to have the same look and feel as the home page. And what you'll notice now as well is our body section is empty. Now that's okay. We're going to leave it like that for the moment. But now we're going to save the current file. So we want to save this into the website project folder that we have on our desktop or wherever you have it saved. So I'm just going to do that now and I'm going to save it as glendalough.html. Save. Now, you'll notice now that our name of the tab here has changed. Now what we're actually going to do is we're just going to create 2 more files, the exact same, using the same process. So click on the little arrow, file HTML, delete the red text, and we're going to copy in our head section again, and we're going to change this title to the sugar loaf, and then we're going to save it. Save, there we are, sugarloaf.html. And then we're going to do one more. Again, we're just going to delete the red. We're going to highlight the head section and paste in our section. And we're going to change this one to Loch Tay. And then we're going to save it. Now, when you're saving a file name, try not to leave a space. If you do want to, you can always use underscore. So if I wanted the space here between Loch Tay, I could do underscore like that. It's not good practice to have a space. So anyway, I'm going to work without a space for the moment. I'm going to hit save. So now, here's my site. So I have my index, I have my style sheet, Glendalough, Sugarloaf, and lochtay.html. So we're going to go back to our index, our main page for the moment, and now we are going to work inside this header section, which is inside the body, so it's going to be visible to the user. Okay, so we are going to start off by making a simple list. So we're going to start off, and we wanted an unordered list, so we're going to go UL, and we're going to move down, back up to the end of the UL, enter once, and we're just going to create a list item. So LI. Now this is where it gets a little interesting. Now we're going to have a link. So we're going to have a list of links basically, and the links are going to link to our web pages. We are going to start now with a href equals index.html, and then we are going to give this, so close our brackets like that, and we are going to call this home. Okay, now what we can actually do, just to make things a bit quicker is I'm going to copy 2, 3, 4. And then all we need to do is we need to change the .html file and we need to change the name. So I'm going to do the next one. It's going to be Lock. Oh, now make sure it looks the same as the way you've spelt it on your tab. And here, it doesn't matter. You can put a capital letter in here, no problem, because that's how it's going to show up on the page. This one now is going to be Sugarloaf. And then finally, we're going to have Lactate. Put the title in here as Lactate. Now, so we're going to save our index now. And let's just bring up our web page here. So here's our web page now before I've refreshed it. And I'm going to hit refresh. Now, just pull it into view a little bit there. So what you'll notice, we now have, because we put this up in our header section, we have an unordered list of our links up here. So, and they work. Now the problem is we have no data whatsoever on the other pages. So we're going to work on that now in a minute. But let's go back to the home page again. I'm just going to minimize the browser. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to start styling our navigation bar. And what we can do in order to make it easier for us when we start working with the CSS, we're going to put our unordered list for our menu items inside the nav tag, which obviously is short for navigation. So just before the UL, we're going to put in the left arrow and then nav, and you'll see it automatically closes, but we don't want that there. We are going to put that after our closing UL bracket. Now, if we were to test this out, so we're going to save the current file, we'll open up our web browser, and if we refresh it, nothing happens. Okay, so we need to start adding some CSS so we can style it. So if we click onto our style.css, we are now going to click after the last curly bracket that's there, and we're going to go and put in nav, and we're going to go UL. So this is for the unordered list inside our nav, and we're going to do our curly brackets, enter twice, and I'm just going to give it a background color. We do our colon, and I'm going to give it tomato. Okay, finish it off with a semicolon, and then we close our curly brackets, and then we save current file. Now, if we load our document again, go up in the web browser, hit refresh. Now, this is looking kind of cool. So now we have a background. It's kind of, this is apparently meant to be tomato color, but I'm still not happy with the dots and the way the layout is. So let's minimize this and let's start working on that. So we can do that by changing the list style. So at the moment, it has the bullet points, and we're going to remove it. So we can do that by creating a new CSS item. So we're going to go nav UL LI. So this is going to be for any list item in our unordered list in the navigation section. And we're going to go curly brackets, and we're going to go list hyphen style hyphen type, and do our comma, or colon, sorry, and we're going to go none, and semicolon. So what that should do is it should remove, so we're just going to save it now, we're going to step along again, and refresh our page. Now, we can see now that the dots for our unordered list have disappeared, which is great, so we've hidden them. The next thing we're going to do is we want didn't mean to minimize that, we want to spread out our list items now along the top of the web page. So we can do that by what's called displaying it inline. So staying within our nav UL LI CSS section, after the semicolon, we're going to press enter, I'm just going to type in display colon inline, and then we do semicolon. Now, we also need to give these a bit of space. So what we can do is we want each item to have a bit of space on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So you can remember when we were working with the picture, we were able to make that a bit bigger by changing the pixel size so it matched up with the video. So just here, we're going to add a bit of blank space either side of our menu item. And this is simply done by adding in the margin element. So we're going to go margin right, and we'll do 10 pixels, shorter pixels, sorry. And then we're going to go margin hyphen left, and that's also going to be 10 pixels. Now, let's save this. And if we bring up our website again, I'm going to hit refresh. Now, that's pretty cool. So now we have our menu starting to spread out along the top, which is pretty cool. So I think now our navbar, I think we can make it look a bit better. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go back to our CSS style sheet, and we're going to make some changes here to the nav UL section. So click just after tomato, after the semicolon, we're going to press enter. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up a border around our menu, and we're going to give it a bit of space so it doesn't touch the menu items, and we're also going to give it the border a color. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is set up the border style. So border style, I'm going to set that to solid. The next thing we want to do then is the border color, and again remember it's the American spelling, and we're going to call it medium violet red. See what this looks like. Okay, then the border width is going to be 2 pixels. And then finally the padding, which is the space that the border is going to be away from the other items, we're going to give that a padding of 10 pixels. Okay, so let's save that now. And we'll go to our web page and we'll hit refresh. Now, that's looking pretty cool. Now, but I don't like how everything is underlined. So let's see what we can do to change that, okay? So we are going to go down to the very bottom of our CSS page. After the last set of curly brackets, we are going to set up a new item, and this is going to target just the links that are in our menu item, or in our nav bar. So we're going to go nav ULLIA. So this is going to target the links in the list in the nav bar. So we'll open up our curly braces, and we are going to change the text decoration, and we are going to set that to none. So what this should do, this should remove, save it, go back into our browser. Brilliant, that's looking much better now. So it doesn't have any underlying lines underneath the links. So that's cool. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into our index page. Now, and what we're going to do is we are going to copy this header section, and we are going to put it on each of the other pages inside the body section. So we are going to go onto Sugarloaf, like so, Loctite. Now remember, inside the body section. So we're going to save all. Click on Sugarloaf, make sure we're in the body, that's grand. Click to lock and save. Now, another thing, we don't need a link to the page that we're on. So what we can do is we can just, when we're on the home page, we can remove the href and just have the item listed. When we're in Glendalough, we can remove the A tag here from Glendalough and take out, oops. And when we're in Sugarloaf, same thing. You'll see now in a minute what we're doing. And then finally, Loctay. Oops, Loctay. And then we just save each of these fellas here. Save, save, index, save. So now, let's go back to our website. We're going to load it up. And you'll notice, if I click on the items, they have the menu bar. So we can now go between each of our pages. And you'll notice that the color has changed slightly. So once we have clicked on a link, the browser knows that we've clicked it. So let's see if we can change that color up a little bit so we know what page we're actually sitting on. What we can do is we are going to minimize our browser and we are going to go back into our CSS page and we're looking for the list items section. And we are going to add color. I'm going to do a cool color now. Let me see. Papaya whip. Okay. So what this does, it changes the color of the items that are not links. So it knows then that we'll be able to see much easier what page we're on. So we're just going to load up our web page again. I'm going to hit now. So see the way our home page is now this, well, it's called Papaya Whip. It looks kind of like white. Click and blend along. So see the way now it's much easier to see which page we're on. So that's kind of pretty cool. The next thing we're going to look at doing is we're going to, I'm not a big fan of squares. My web design, I like to have kind of rounded edges and stuff like that. So we can do this by using a element called border radius. And what this will do is it will kind of round out the edges of our navbar. Okay. So what we're going to do, staying in the CSS, we're going to go to our UL section here, and we're just going to put a border radius. And we're going to put this to, let's say 10 pixels. Okay, and we finish off the semicolon. Let's just save this now. We'll go back into our browser. Let's just load that. Now, see the way we're kind of getting the nice rounded, that's pretty cool. Final thing we're going to do for our website is we're actually just going to set up a footer so you'll be able to put in who the owner of the website is or who the copyright is. So what we're going to do on our main index page, we're going to go down to our footer section, and I'm just going to put in a simple paragraph or P tag. Oops. And I'm going to put in is copyright Kieran Conklin, oops, 2020. Okie dokie. So if we save that, and just bring up our website, and we hit refresh. Now, you'll see copyright, but that's a bit boring. I kind of don't want it to look the same as the rest of the page. Normally, when I have a footer, I like to kind of have it as kind of, it's a break, it's the end of the site, so you know kind of where you are. So let's have a look at that. We can do that using just pure CSS. So if we click on our style.css, go down to the very bottom after the last curly brackets, we're going to go footer. And we're going to open a new set of curly brackets. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to set the background color. So background color, I'm going to set that to black. Then we want this to be full width. So we want it to go across the screen, regardless of the size, if we're on a phone or if we're on screen monitor or a tablet, something like that. So we can simply do width 100%. So regardless of the width of the screen, it'll always fill it. Then we want to have the text color as white, and we can simply do that by going color, comma, or colon, white. Now, the last thing we want to do is we want to have a bit of space above and below the footer. So we can do that with padding. So we're going to go padding top, and we're going to set it to 15 pixels. And then we're going to set the padding bottom. And we're going to set that also to 15 pixels. And then we are going to close our curly brackets. We're going to save our file and let's have a look. So here we have our boring footer here. When I hit refresh, no, that's cool, but a little problem. I want to have the text in the center of the screen. So what we can do is go back into our CSS document, click after the last item there, just before the curly braces, and we can actually bring in text align, and we can go center. And again, just make sure it's the American spelling, and finish off with semicolon, hit save, and refresh our web page. And now we have our footer text in the center. So what we need to do now is we need to pull this across onto our other pages. So what we're going to do is go into our index. So we're actually just going to copy the footer section. Go to Glendalough and make sure now we are inside our body section. So just after, here we are. Sugarloaf, header, and Locktay. Now, just as we're here, I might as well, I'm going to set up the main for each of those pages too, because I want you guys now to be able to go in and start building up these pages. Finally, unlock, click after the header. Now, we're going to save, and save. So now we're going to refresh our page. So we're on our home page, click into Glendalough. Now you'll notice our footer is right up against the menu bar. That's because we've no content at the moment here. That's cool. And as you start adding your content into these pages, it will start to push down just like we have on our home page. So there we have it. So have a mess around. What I want you guys to build up the other pages. Now, once you finish, you can then test out, try different topics, Minecraft or your favorite band or if your hobby or something like that. But try it out, keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next tutorial.